as soon as you begin having thoughts, you're already in your mind, so you might as well use mindfulness and be like, start thinking about, here I am, this is what I'm doing now, and then that silences the mind part because you're only focused on so many things at once. I mean, that would essentially work.
Well,
in theory.
There is this incessant sort of compulsive addiction to thinking. It's always thought, 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 thought. Let me think about my thoughts. Let me think about the thoughts, and I'm thinking about the thoughts, and more thoughts, and thoughts, and thoughts, and thoughts, and thoughts. And it's a bottomless pit. And it never ends. And it doesn't solve anything. You just keep circling the manhole. You know? It's like a kid on a tricycle circling the manhole. And so, that's why we have the saying at the Peaceful Mind Center that says you have figured it out once you figure out that there's nothing to figure out. The figuring out never ends.
And also, I think if you're truly living in the moment, you're not living in your mind anyways, right?
You can't be in both those places.
Right.
Like, I always like to say that if I'm looking for you, I'm going to find you in one of two places. I'm going to find you here with me, or up in your head, running through the woods of your thoughts, right? So when I'm saying to you, remember to just observe yourself, observe your thoughts without judgment, is because I'm seeing students who are beating the crap out of themselves. Which is a very common thing, and I did it too. I'm not above any of this. But we can be so mean to ourselves, and we can be so judgmental of ourselves, and we can really just lay the lumber to ourselves in our own mind, instead of just watching curiously and observing how your mind is programmed. Your mind is like a computer. It's coded. Your code is language. English for most of us. It didn't start getting coded until you started learning language. We didn't really have a lot of memories even until before we had language. Our memories are in language. Our memories are in concepts and ideas in our minds, right? So, remember in your practice to always observe your mind without judgment. Most of what unfolds in the mind is conditioning and habituation unconsciously expressing itself. What does that mean? You're on automatic pilot. Good. Anybody else? You don't know what you don't know. Let me see. Most of what unfolds in the mind is conditioning and habituation unconsciously expressing itself. And it's true. You don't even know that you don't know that. Right? Would you use the microphone, please? It needs to be turned on. Where's Sean today? How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's at my house.
Is he?
He might be watching if he is able to tune in today.
I don't know if I see him there yet, but hi, Sean.
Do you think that overthinking and thinking too much is something that's learned as well, like from, our parents and from society, starting from when we're young, or that's inherent in just human nature to overthink and just think too much?
I think it's learned. I guess it can be both. I don't know how I could conclusively say either, but it's clearly learned, I would imagine when you take someone like the Dalai Lama, who at a very early age was brought into practice and was taught not to do that, his mind is probably a lot more settled than the rest of us who grew up with your normal neurotic parents, But the conditioning and the habituation, like this reaches back to what I was pointing to, is that where the conditioning comes from, the mind just got programmed to behave this way. You can see other people's conditioning very easily, right? Like some people, like you say one thing to them and you know what the first domino, and you know everything they're going to do after that. And it's so obvious. And you're like, here it is. But they're not aware of it. So you have to begin to understand that you are a programmed, conditioned robot. And you're just acting out your programming unconsciously.